My name is Marche Warfield, and welcome back to The Workup. Today we begin our new series, Let's Get Social, which dives into social media and controlling the conversation online. Today we begin our new series, Let's Get Social, which dives into social media and controlling the conversation online. Our episode today will specifically discuss controlling the conversation on social platforms such as Facebook and LinkedIn. We will get into what makes each platform unique, how they best serve your business, and how they have changed the way businesses market and recruit. So I would like to introduce Candace Hudson. She oversees social media at Satori Marketing.
There's really no excuse not to be on social at this point. I hear my clients aren't on social media as a common excuse from business owners, but that's just simply not true. As marketers, it's our job to research and provide analytical, metric-driven feedback to our clients. So we're on these social platforms all the time. We're pulling data, we're researching, and we're interacting with the community as a whole. I feel like that should give us some credibility. So we mostly know what we're talking about. Just give us a chance to prove it to you.
So tell me how you combat the argument of my audience isn't on social media, that's for the younger crowd.
So for those skeptical clients who believe their audience isn't on social media, I usually have one standard patented response, and that's, are you on Facebook? After some back and forth dialogue and some debate, 9 times out of 10, yes, they are on Facebook is the end result. And then I use that as a gateway to poke holes in their arguments. If they're business owners themselves and they're between the ages of 50 or 64, the chances are that the CEOs and presidents they're looking to do business with are on some sort of social media as well, more than likely Facebook. That's why we recommend Facebook and LinkedIn as 2 of the strongest platforms for B2B organizations. And those naysayers are always surprised when I tell them the older generations are actually one of the most heavily and densely populated groups on Facebook. Way over half of 50 to 64-year-olds who are online actually use Facebook, coming in at about like 72%, and that's very high. And then they might backtrack and say, oh, well, I use Facebook for personal reasons, and I might look at pictures of my granddaughter or things like that. And then they've just helped prove my point. If your counterparts are online doing the exact same thing, this is the time your brand needs to create a lasting impression with them, when they're relaxed, happy, and the chance for positive recall is the highest.
Okay, so you brought up LinkedIn. What do the demographics look like for that platform?
LinkedIn is an interesting beast in the fact that the majority of their users are like late Gen Xers or millennials, always professionals ranging from about 25 to 49 years old. Even though that's the case, 43% of that demographic are decision makers within their organizations, with nearly a quarter of them being senior level employees and up. So to hear my clients aren't on social is just misguided. 94% of all B2B companies heavily use LinkedIn for marketing and distribution. So why not capitalize on the platforms that are created exactly for this purpose?
LinkedIn is sometimes seen as the redheaded stepchild compared to the other social media platforms. Tell the viewers how it's changed over the years for the better.
Well, LinkedIn isn't just for recruiters anymore. That's a common misconception. So even though, yes, the platform was founded on the principles of finding and recruiting talent in the workforce and putting your own credentials out there, the medium has evolved greatly over the years. They were really able to change this perception after Microsoft purchased the platform. It took Microsoft's reach, their resources, and all of their capital to change public perception about the platform's use. And honestly, it's something they're still really fighting. So recruiters still use the site to find potential employees, but it's really shifted its value to holistic professional development. Lynda.com, a site that's really known well for videos and tutorials and different aspects of soft skills and hard skills in the workplace, has become part of the LinkedIn arsenal. And these improvements really haven't been considered much in the praise that LinkedIn receives. They've turned down increasing levels of spam, they continue to upgrade their mobile app, and they're really leading the way with targeting tools. The platform continues to grow and is, still continuing to play catch up with other powerhouses like Facebook and Facebook and Twitter. But they really filled a niche where Facebook left off. Professional networking was a hole in the social networks, and they really capitalized in their intrinsic value with the professional development.
So, what you're saying is it's made great strides, but in order to be on the same level as Facebook or Twitter, where would you say LinkedIn needs to go to compete?
Futuristically, there are several things LinkedIn could do and should consider. We're trying to grow. I would probably say using real-time videos. That's something Facebook does really, really well. Incorporating some of those lynda.com webinars for future use. Supporting LinkedIn use in any of the Microsoft suite. That could be a really powerful way to expand their reach. And potentially adding a shopping or marketplace feature. That's not necessary, but if they can make it work with the core values of LinkedIn, that could be great.
Okay, so what would you say to a company who wants to have a successful presence on LinkedIn?
Well, how can you succeed on the platform, or how can your company excel on this platform? That really depends. I would create a company page that's really engaging, entertaining, and of course professional. Content is always key. And that's knowing what to include and, more importantly, what not to include. Be active. If you're going to be a frequent poster on social media, you need to have strategy behind it. Strategy is one of the most important and honestly overlooked things on social. And then make sure you add a creative voice behind the professionalism. You don't want just dry and, kind of saltine level dust and just dryness in your social platforms. So really cater to your audience. Make sure you're consistently providing these updates. Don't be infrequent. And then make sure you use the keywords that really capture your audience. There are two schools of thought for professionals on LinkedIn: the more connections, the better, or if you want to have really tailored and curated connections. That just really depends on your personal philosophy, so make sure you pick what is right for you. And remember who's the boss. Marche, you're a CEO and you're on LinkedIn, so that's great. That's a huge step. Microsoft's CEO is on LinkedIn, and they are very active all the time. They probably have a professional who's handling and managing their page, but make sure that they're posting as well. And then make sure all of your employees are your brand ambassadors on social. If you're not even getting your employees to buy in and post frequently for your company, why would others who are just, bystanders looking at your product, why would they buy in as well?
So let's talk about what you like most and what you like the least about LinkedIn.
Well, let's start with the cons. We'll end on a positive note for LinkedIn. The consistency of the users. Most people usually log in about once a day on LinkedIn. I'm probably one of those people. But it's a professional platform, so adding work on top of work isn't really B, it probably takes a lot more work up front in setting your profile up. You have to upload your resume, you can do references and recommendations for people, and it just takes a lot more to set up the profile rather than just a profile picture and, a blurb about my dog. And then C, it's probably people's least favorite social media in the fact that it's less fun because it is so professional, it's not really the place to post those cat memes or, it's less fun is a good way to phrase it. The pros about LinkedIn, I would say, are that because it is serious and it is professional, it adds some sort of credibility to the platform itself and your business. And then you're able to make those quality business connections, again, depending on if you want to just add everybody or if you want to really curate who your connections are.
Facebook is considered a king in the social media world. How would you describe where Zuckerberg took his company compared to the path LinkedIn took?
Well, where Facebook went left, LinkedIn went right. Facebook was kind of on the cusp of total domination. The platform was used for nearly everything, like personal connections, business connections, promotions, events, social movements, you name it. It was going on Facebook. The average age of Facebook users was still continuing to increase, but it really took a shift when the company went public. It's been nearly 7 years since that happened. It'll be 7 years in May. Can't believe it. But the incremental changes that investors wanted to see Facebook have, I feel have really hurt their IPO. Okay, so Facebook is still sticking true to their initial purpose, but I really feel like they're a better personal social platform than anything else at this point. And so even though businesses still receive the most exposure probably via Facebook business pages, finding inventive ways for your organization to break the mold in this space is increasingly challenging and honestly should almost be left up to professionals at this point. It's becoming more difficult every day, and it requires somebody with finesse and a real knowledge of the platform to find ways to break out of the mold with something that has so much red tape.
Facebook recently created a new algorithm to change how users interact on their news feeds. What made them make this change, and how does this affect a business's presence on Facebook?
Something that Facebook has been battling, again, with their IPO has been ad space. So they're, kind of changing the way your news feed comes across. They're hoping to in your friends' posts first rather than an ad. You'll still get the advertisements because that's where Facebook has most of their ad revenue, or revenue is in ads, but you won't see those first now. So what does this mean for brands? You need to continue to post engaging content. Again, have strategy. Encourage users to follow you and really keep up with your updates. Increasing your ad budget. Facebook is notorious. You can, get some ads for very cheap, but you might have to increase your budget in order for others to see it and for wider reach. Posting live videos. That's always been huge. At first it was, photos, but now it's live video. And really engage customers with group and business pages.
There are a few companies doing an awesome job showcasing their brand on Facebook. Can you talk about how they do that?
Yeah, some really great examples are LL Bean. They include content that's relevant, fascinating, and targeted. Nutella, which everybody loves, they provide creative visual content. And Zappos, they have incredible response time for their Facebook messages. They also use really recognizable profile photos. They post strategically. Notice the theme here. And they choose engaging cover photos. All of their posts are visually appealing, and they create brand loyalty, increase traffic, and they gather more leads through these methods.
Recently, Facebook has gotten into some trouble. Last week, Mark Zuckerberg was testifying in front of Congress. How will this change the company's future?
He has been in the hot seat for selling, users' personal information to the voter profiling company Cambridge Analytica. This is something that everybody just has to really read the fine print when they hit accept, or I have accepted and read the terms. This is something that might happen, but again, Facebook is still hugely beneficial to many businesses. So choose the best platform for you, even though they're in some sort of heat right now. It's just up to you whether or not you want to take the risk.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Candace. Tune into the workup next time, where we will discuss Twitter, Instagram, and other social media platforms.